What's up guys, Bonnie here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're talking about legendary tomes because yes, you can apparently get 3 of them in a very short amount of time. Question is, can you get all 3? And a further question to all this, can you actually get all of them with free-to-play resources? So in today's video, I want to break down how I'm going to attempt to do this, and perhaps this is going to help you guys decide as well if you want to undertake this, because it doesn't happen often that we get the opportunity to get so many legendary tomes, and I'm pretty sure, like everybody else, you kind of desperately need those tomes yourself to progress your legendary champion. All that said, let's jump right into today's video. So let's first break down where these legendary tomes are going to come from so that we can then determine how much they're going to cost us and if it is worth it to use free gems or free-to-play resources to get to all 3. Number 1, we have one in the champion training event, which is going to end in a little less than 2 days. I completed this ahead of time. I pushed too quickly, but there was a reason for that. I had to generate over 9,000 points in one day, which was Sunday, to get the last void shard I needed to get 15 free ones to summon Ursula. Okay, so I would assume that I could have done this for less gems. Overall, it probably cost me about 500 gems to do this. So I would say, in a sense, that this one cost me 500 gems, give or take, but it could have been cheaper, all right, especially if you had some food prepared ahead of time. The other one would come from the clan versus clan tournament if you are able to reach the last milestone. Obviously, this is a collective effort from your clan, and if you're not in tier 6, this is not going to be a legendary tome for you, but you still might get, let's say, epic books, right, which is always good. You always want more tomes for your champion. So I'm gonna say for myself though, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try and pull my own weight, obviously, and I'm going to hope that we can get there as a group. We usually do, and I don't end up spending a ton of extra resources to get to that one, but you do want to pay attention to what you're gonna do during the clan versus clan tournament. For example, the champion objectives, where you get more points, which you have the champion training event at the same time. So this is a great combination of things to do. Therefore, it should be relatively easy if you do this. As you're doing food, you're obviously doing something else, which is the Dungeon Divers events. You are getting points for that event as well as you're farming some food, and we have 4 days to complete this one. This is where the third one would come for me. 5,000 points, guys, for a legendary tome is really rare. It doesn't always happen this way. Here are a few other examples of, let's say, some previous Dungeon Divers event. We usually have a void shard here for 4,500 points, or even prior to that one, 6,250 points for a legendary tome. Now it's 5,000. So in other words, it's a relatively cheap deal. Here's another example, 6,500 for, once again, a legendary tome. Even though the time frame might be a little bit different, overall 4 days for 5,000 points is pretty decent. But I know what you're thinking, you can't do this with free-to-play energy, and you are right. You cannot get to the end of this with just free-to-play energy in the course of 4 days. Instead, what you have to break down here is how many extra gems would you have to spend on energy to get to here, right? And what do you need to do to make it for as cheap as possible, which is what we'll cover in a second. So if I were to use only my free-to-play energy for 4 days, I would get to about 3,000-ish points, give or take. Maybe about 37-ish hundred points. So then you're going to require another whopping almost 2,500 points to get to the end of this Dungeon Divers event. Obviously, you're going to have to spend gems for that, but that's all right. You generate free gems anyway as you just keep playing this game. So if you've been hoarding, like I've been preaching, then you could technically spend those extra gems to get to here. But how many would that cost? Well, if you're doing a dungeon, for example, not farming the campaign because you get less points, you would need about 800 gems, give or take, maybe a little bit less, 700 gems, depending if you have more energy coming in from like the Doom Tower, saved up energy, whatever. You can use whatever saved up resources you have to make this even cheaper, but I'm gonna say worst case scenario, about 700 to 800 gems, which is a pretty good deal. That's about on par with what you would pay for a legendary tome in the shop. But in this case, you're getting it for free because you're going to use those saved up gems, all right? So if I tally up those 3 legendary tomes and I add up the amount of gems I would have to spend for this, I'm going to say it's about 1,200 gems. it's a pretty good deal. It's a really good deal. 1200 gems for 3 legendary tomes on my account does not happen often, so I will push for this. But here's what I'm going to focus on to generate more points in the event. Ice Golem, which is the logical thing to do because, one, we have the resistance gear frenzy, which is great gear. By the way, if you don't have resistance gear on your account, you're going to need it in the long run. At least that's what it was for me, especially for the hard Doom Tower and also probably for the arena. Okay, so I've been farming this here with food for 20 energy a pop, and I thought this was probably the best way to go about this because I'm going to be doing the Dungeon Divers event, I'm going to be doing the champion training event, and I will be doing some clan versus clan, and I'll be getting more resistance gear, right? So my team here can handle this. You guys might not have this. I have plenty of other teams on my YouTube channel you guys can go look at for just Ice Golem farming. But right now my focus is the Dungeon Divers event. So if I do 25, I'm actually getting less points for the Dungeon Divers event, although I am helping out the clan a little bit more by doing this. So the question is, and maybe you guys can help me answer this, you think it would be better for me to do stage 20 where I get more Dungeon Divers points, but I don't do food at the same time? Maybe I would have a 3-man team or 2-man team to do food in there as well, but the training event is done for me, so I don't really need it. The only advantage of doing food here at the same time is to generate more clan versus clan points, which we do have a double payout for anything you do regarding ranking up champions, leveling them up, you know, the whole thing, right? So overall, I can help my clan a little bit more by getting less points in the Dungeon Divers event, but you actually get quite a lot less, and the problem with this is that I'm going to end up paying more for my legendary tome. So it becomes a question of, do I want to take a hit, spend more gems for my legendary tome and help out the clan, possibly win? We're not going to win, we rarely do, or just focus on myself and getting a legendary tome, the third one, for as cheap as possible to reduce my overall average. Okay, so in case you guys have forgotten about this, if you do stage 20, you're getting 0.76 points towards a Dungeon Divers event for every energy spent. If you do stage 25, you're only getting 0.64. It's not the end of the world, but it will matter in the long run in the amount of gems you're going to spend for this. Okay, so obviously clan versus clan points though will be a lot better here. That is the best to do overall for clan versus clan. The best value, stage 20. So which one do you do, right? And because I'm done with the training event, I feel like doing food here at the same time is a little bit wasted, but again, it's helping out the clan versus clan. All right, so here's a quick reminder, sorry, of the Ice Golem teams that I have on my YouTube channel. If you just go on the little search button here and you punch in Ice Golem, it's going to come up with all the builds that I've used recently. My record was 37 seconds here. This was done with, let's say, this team right here. So I could easily be doing this, right? I could be focusing on Ice Golem 20, generate more points, just focus on speed farming this. But if this is not 100% success rate, I would caution you guys into doing this because every failed run means it's going to be more expensive for your legendary tome, right? So again, a few things to figure out. I would love to have your thoughts on the subjects in the comments below. But overall, this is sort of what I'm doing right now. 2-man Ice Golem 25 with Battle Khazar, Aox, remember. I just posted a video about this as well on YouTube, so you can go check it out for the full champion builds. But I want to know in the comments below, what are you guys doing, and are you going for the, I'm going to call it the third legendary tome? How much are you willing to pay for that? Do you think it's an overall decent deal to have 3 for 1200 gems? I think this is extremely rare, so I would really recommend that you guys try and push for this if you can. Overall, that's it guys. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will catch you later.